Let's take a look at another extremely powerful New York Times board member whose company has over $200 million invested in companies that are actively partnering with Ryan Reynolds. John W. Rutter Jr., who sits on the board of the New York Times, founded Ariel Investments in 1983, over 42 years ago, and still leads the firm today as chairman, co-CEO, and chief investment officer. That means he doesn't just guide the company, he drives its investment decisions. One of those major investments, Paramount Global, the studio with exclusive development deal of the Ryan Reynolds and his production company, Maximum Effort. That deal, originally established years ago, was just renewed in early 2024, securing a multi-year commitment to develop and produce new projects with Reynolds. Therefore, Reynolds' success is John's success. The last disclosed value of the shares that his company has in Paramount Global is over $153 million. He's banking on Paramount's success. He's banking on Reynolds' success. But Paramount isn't the only overlap. He also owns shares in Capital One Financial Corporation, a brand that Ryan Reynolds both advertises for and collaborates with through Mountain, the advertising technology company where he serves as chief creative officer. In fact, Capital One partnered with Mountain for a high-profile panel with Reynolds and Mountain CEO at the 2024 Inc. 5000 conference, illustrating how deeply these commercial ties run. Reynolds isn't just a face in front of the camera. He's actively shaping the messaging. His role is to help Capital One succeed, and if he's successful in driving public engagement and loyalty, Capital One benefits, its stock performs better, and Rogers, by extension, stands to make more money. The latest disposed value that Rogers' company has in shares with Capital One is almost $50 million. That is a lot of money as well, that they are relying on Capital One and Reynolds to do good. Lastly, his investment company also holds positions in Microsoft, which has collaborated with Reynolds and Paramount on multiple campaigns, including Xbox promotions and Google Assistant tie-in. And besides these investments, one is one of the more interesting positions he holds, being on the board of directors of the New York Times, a position he's held since 2018. And what we have here is a single individual with direct and powerful influence in the New York Times who has a lot of money invested in several companies tied to Ryan. Was he a part of greenlighting that article, the smear campaign article, and making sure the narrative really fit to make Blake and Ryan look good? I don't know. But what I do know is he could lose a lot of money if Ryan, and by extension those companies, don't do well if something goes wrong. Or he can make a lot of money if things go in their favor. So I gotta ask you, do you think this is a conflict of interest? And if it is, do you think that it's worth needing to be looked at in discovery to see if it has anything to do with defamation and what transpired? Here are a set of facts that I found, and if you want, you can look into it more. You could think about it more, and you come to that decision. You decide.